Good morning. Now, should I say quite quickly and very early, today is Journée Creole, so happy Journée Creole to all. I should have dressed like Journée Creole, but Maria took it. It's a good excuse. Let me welcome the media, and let me welcome Facebook, social media, and YouTube. We do this daily so that the people of Dominica and people overseas in the diaspora can know what we're doing, what's happening since Maria struck us that devastating blow. And so we do that so that you can be updated as to what's going on. Let me welcome CBN4 in the media. It's only a pity we don't have too many more like you come in. And it's my view that each radio station, every house, should assign at least one person to these briefings. And don't meet me on the street and ask me, why didn't you ask this? I'm not supposed to be asking questions. I'm supposed to be moderating, but I have to do that because nobody else is coming. And I think the media should assign each one person. This is very important to Dominica. It's not just a nice thing we're doing here and having a little fun. People want to know. And if you want to ask questions, you have to come here. Don't ask me on the street. Come here to do it. Today is a very important date for us. It's a countdown towards independence. And let me say about the Journée Creole, it's also a very happy day for me whenever I say Journée Creole, because I was the one who started the whole, in those days, scandalous thing on DBS radio when Creole was a bad word. And I took a lot of hits. People called me all kinds of names, even to the point of wanting to do things to me in the marketplace. But it survived. We persisted, I persisted, and with the staff of the radio station, we survived. And today, it's a very happy time when I have to say Journée Creole, which means we have recognized the importance of this tongue in our culture. And we have two very important people who know a lot about it to talk about it as we move towards independence. And we know what independence means. We didn't think that this year we'd be celebrating independence in these conditions, but we are. We cannot pick and choose things like that. Nature does its thing, no matter who is there and what we do. So those two very important people are, you know very well, the Minister of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs, that's the Honorable Catherine Daniel, and of course her Permanent Secretary in that very same ministry, Mrs. Helen Roye. I almost said Honorable, but it's Mrs. And they will be talking to you about independence, what it means, especially at this time. Come ye forward, sons and daughters, especially at this time. And I'm anxious to hear what they have to say, and I know so are you. So let me call to the microphone the Honorable Catherine Daniel. Okay, I should have done something else before. I know you're wondering what I should have done. I'll keep you wondering. Wonder. Now, I'll call the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs to introduce the Minister.
Pleasant good morning, and thank you, Mr. Moderator. We are delighted to have the presence of the Honorable Minister for Social Services, the Honorable Catherine Daniel, and you, the media. This morning, we want also to apologize on behalf of the Chief Cultural Officer, Mr. Raymond Lawrence, who would have liked to be here, but because of other exigencies, he has to be excused. Bonjour, Journée Creole, tout le monde Dominique. Good morning to every Dominican. We are pleased at the Ministry of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs to be here with you this morning with a special focus on National Day, which is usually celebrated on the 3rd of November every year. This year, we will still celebrate. Unlike, I mean, most persons maybe thought that we would not have been able to observe this important day. But I believe we in Dominica, we realize the importance of our independence, and 39 years is a lot too much to just go unnoticed. And apparently we think also that the most important thing, that many of us are still here, we are alive and well, and I think we need to give thanks and praise to God. So this year's celebration will be a celebration of a difference. When the Honorable Minister speaks, she will address you on the different areas, especially government's perspective, and will address the nation on that special event. But for us at the Ministry of Social Services and in collaboration with the Ministry of Culture, we had to prepare a reduced program. You would have realized with the impact of Hurricane Maria on Dominica, there is no way we would be able to do everything as we would have liked to, but we will be having a program. And after the minister's address, I will give you details and update on our plans, how far, where we are, what we are planning to do. But we are very delighted to be part of this important event, and we solicit the support of every Dominica that pride themselves as being Dominicans. We are resilient people, and we can continue to enjoy what Dominica has achieved. And I'm delighted at this time, as I said, to ask the Honorable Minister, Honorable Catherine Daniel, to address you, after which we will give you details of our plans. Thank you.
A pleasant good morning to all members of the moderator, Mr. Joseph, members of the media, members, people in the diaspora, Dominicans at heart, those who love Dominica very much, friends, relatives, and all. Bonjour. Je dis séjourner créole, mais parce que nous n'y pour parler, pour d'autres monde comprendre, nous que parler en anglais. Today marks the 39th day of the devastation of Hurricane Maria, a situation which brought with it a plethora of emotions. But what struck me with reference to our independence celebration is that man indeed proposes and God disposes. We at the Ministry of Social Services with responsibility for the celebration of our independence, the National Day Parade, and other cultural activities, we were much, taken back or daunted when all plans had to be put aside. However, we had launched Independence celebration already, which was launched on the 16th of September. But the celebration was to take place from the 16th of September to the 4th of November. And as you know, Maria struck on the 18th, thus again emphasizing man proposes and God disposes. Now, what happened? Sometimes we have to sit back and reflect what's happening to us. And it brought into sharp focus the events of September 18th, brought into sharp focus the true meaning of the words we often take for granted. Unity, love, caring, patriotism, collaboration, relevance, sharing. Now at this time, it would be remiss of me if I did not give thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister for instilling leadership in all of this, because one would think that after this devastation, the easier option would be to cancel everything. But pride in our nation and giving the people the hope and saying that we are resilient people, it's not only in these words, so we have to show resilience, and it is through his leadership that we were guided that we must go on at least with the November 3rd celebration. I also want to thank all members of cabinet and parliamentarians for their support in this, in bringing this short program together. On November 3rd, as we have earlier said, we celebrate our 39th year as an independent nation under the theme, Building a Brighter Future Together. Little did we know that when we selected that theme, that God in his wisdom would allow us to be broken down every obstructive barrier, giving us an opportunity for a fresh start, which would incorporate the elements of all what we set out before: unity, love, caring, patriotism, collaboration, relevance, and sharing. So to achieve this brighter future, thus our purposeful mission in celebrating our 39 years, albeit low-keyed, we need to reflect. Why are we celebrating? We need to reflect on the true meaning of these words, asking ourselves the question as expressed in song: what service shall we render thee, Dominica, we love? The service of this island state is not in words alone. A nobler people shall arise if worthy deeds are done. And so, with that being said, we are calling on Dominicans, both here and abroad, to join us in this celebration. Let us take pride in our country. Let us take pride in the development of our country. Let us look in this sad situation that we have come through, what it is that we can do better. Because for many, you may be seeing it as a devastation, but some of the lessons that came out of that, and which this celebration we are hoping will bring together this in our people, brothers and sisters, people who were not talking, found themselves serving as shelters to each other, found themselves talking again. So there are lots of positive in spite of the storm. And it is with this in mind that we have decided to go ahead and further bring our people through a type of ecumenical service. So where we'll have praise, songs of worship, give God thanks, reflection on words, some invocations, and a little bit of cultural activity and some like a military presence. And so with this being said, I wish to sincerely thank all those agencies, military services, and individuals who have been here with us, providing support in so many ways. And it's because all these people are here doing for us some of the things that we can't do for ourselves, that we have gotten the strength, we have gotten the fortitude, we have gotten the presence that we can move ahead and bring into sharp focus, as I said, the resilient people that we say we are. Now is the time to join hearts and hands, to join our forces together, to join our strengths together to develop Dominica in a way. As you have heard in addresses by the Prime Minister, in his daily addresses, his briefings also, where he said we are going to build back a better Dominica, a more resilient Dominica, because we didn't know that we would be facing a Category 5 hurricane. And so the first aspect of it is to building a strong people. And I think this celebration will give us the start of that unity and strength that we need from our people. And I want to wish all Dominicans a really blessed get into the celebration mood. It could be meditation, it could be reflection. It depends on what you do with your celebration. And with God on our side, we can do anything through him who strengthens us. May God bless each one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Okay, so the Honorable Minister has given us a brilliant address on the importance of the observance of our 39th year of anniversary. And at this time, I will just give you a little update on what we have planned and where we are. So as we alluded to before, preparations are well on the way for the National Day Parade. We have sent out letters, and we have also held meetings with various stakeholders, such as the religious leaders, other ministries. We have also sought the help and assistance of service providers. This is in place, the local government, We have discussed our plans for the stadium setup, and that is in place. The ministry work teams, we have met and we have notified everybody, and they are very well aware of their roles and responsibilities. Invitations have been drafted. It has been approved, actually sent to the printery just to maybe look at it and see what else has to be done. And this morning it will be finalized by the ministers and sent for printing. We are also working on the grounds, making sure that everything is in place. The grounds, the materials and furnishings, these have been in place, and we'll be having an important stakeholder meeting just after, a little after 11, planned for 11:30. So everything seems to be in place. As the Honorable Minister said, we had plans already, so it was just a matter of maybe redirecting certain events and making it a little shorter. But on the day of the parade, we will still have the presence of His Excellency the President, the Prime Minister. We will also be expecting our uniformed groups, and we will be having praise and worship, and we will be having the Cicero singers, and a special message from the Bishop. And we are also expecting prayer and invocation from various church leaders, the Seventh Adventist Church and the Methodist Church. They have all given us the blessings to go ahead with this event, and we are looking forward also to end up with cultural performances. So we are encouraging people, as the Honorable Minister said, to be hopeful and be energetic, enthusiastic. Do not feel too down and out because of what happened. Those of us who are here, we have enough reason to celebrate. So join us. We are asking you to give us full support. The public will be sending public messages. We will be on the radio informing you. So we are looking for large numbers for people to turn out and really celebrate the anniversary of Dominica. If you have any questions at this time, we will be able to answer those that are within our purview.
What was your greatest challenge when trying to put this event together?
Well, really is the time factor, because as you realize, as I said, we had a long, detailed program of activities, and you know, it's not something you could just decide. You have to make sure that the structure is in place. If we do not get the persons for the stage, if we were not able to get the other important stakeholders to buy in, it would have been a problem. But we actually had a meeting just prior to Erica with our stakeholders, and we knew exactly what we wanted. But the challenge was making sure that we still have, let's say, like our florist. We know we do not have flowers. So we couldn't just say that we're going to be decorating. And while we are going to be doing a shortened version, you still want the place to look very well. So when we call our first person, the person that we were expecting to do it, the person is not well and they did not have flowers. But these are some of the little things. We wanted to make sure that the stage, the person whom we normally ask for the stage sometime, the stage is out in another country. Thank God it was in Dominica, so we could have done those things. That was the biggest challenge. But because we have a team of persons working, it was easy, you know, collaborating with Mr. Lawrence, the Ministry of Culture, and the two ministers, and with the leadership of the Honorable Ministers, we were able to put a program together very quickly, and they walked us through, guided us as to whatever, and Cabinet's approval and directive made it much easier for us. So it was not just the Ministry of Social Services, but we were guided, and as the Honorable Minister said, the Prime Minister, because of his leadership and the Cabinet's leadership, they were able to guide us as to what should be done and how we should do it. So this was really a minor challenge. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions?
Considering that much of our activities were cancelled during this season, do you think that the next year, before the season starts, that we will put a little more emphasis on Creole?
Well, I think we did put a lot of emphasis on Creole. The fact is that the circumstances that happened after Mario kind of put us on a halt. But if you would have listened to your radio, almost every day, Mr. Lawrence was on the radio. We were actually putting the emphasis. And if nothing happened for Maria, we would just be running, because, as the minister said, we were supposed to launch maybe 2-3 days after we were supposed to have that grand opening, and everything was in place. But the fact is, nature does its stuff, and there's nothing you can do with nature. And I mean, it attests, the fact that we can keep something on the 3rd attests to the preparation that was done before. If we were not prepared, there's no way, looking at the magnitude of the disaster, if we were not well organized, we would not have been able to have anything. So what you are going to have on the 3rd is a true indication that the ministries that collaborated together, the cabinet, the government was well prepared for that event. That is why we could so quickly put a program together. Okay?
Question: are the effects of Maria likely to affect our events next year's season?
Well, this would be a policy directive I cannot give. Maybe the minister can speak to it, but I would leave that to the Honorable Minister, because there are a lot of logistics. We do not know what else. We are still in the hurricane season, actually, so we do not even know what, so we would not know. But that would have to be a policy directive from the minister and cabinet level. Okay? That's it? Okay. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks.
And just by way of appreciating all the things you did, I really love your work.
Thank you. Thanks.
Your Creole dress. And your heart is spectacular. So is the minister. So we will have something very substantial in my view for Independence Day, which is a very important day for us all. And I do hope Dominicans and visitors and those who are here with us turn out in large numbers. We need to show the world that we're not broken, that we're not beaten, that can rise again. Of course, we can just say it, but now we have to mean it. And I hope that on that day we'll turn out with our flags. I said once a little earlier when I started doing this thing, I was impressed because I was in New York at the time of 9/11. You know what 9/11 is, I'm sure. That's when the World Trade Center buildings were taken down by airplanes. And what impressed me was immediately after, people had their flags waving all over the place, on cars, on houses. And I think we should do the same, not in defiance of nature, but in a blend with nature's doing. In other words, nature has done certain things testing us. Let me see what you guys are going to do now. We can't just say, well, you did your thing, we're gone. We have to respond. I think that's one way we can do it. And certainly I congratulate the ministry for bringing this thing forward, Independence Day, and it will be something that will encourage a lot of us. Let me just give you this update before we close. It's Domlec doing work. Most of the city, they say, most of the city has been powered. The western side of Independence Street has been energized, and it is hoped that Roseau Central will be fully restored by the end of this month, October, which is good news. Work is also ongoing on the Belfast feeder from Wavin Cock. Feeder is being rebuilt there. Work to restore the Canefield Industrial Estate, ongoing completion date October 29th, and the Riverbank and River Street partly restored. So work has to be ongoing. It's not easy. You see all the poles on the ground, you see the wires, people are cutting them and so on. They have a lot of work to do. They also say that lower portion of Federation Drive has been completed, and work is ongoing in the following areas as well. To the State Prison, completion by October 27th, which is of course today. State College, the same date, completion by today. Foncoule Industrial Site, completion by November 4th, the day after Independence, and Independence Day. And Pottersville, the intersection of Elliott Avenue and Goodwill Road, completion by October the 31st, and sections of Bath Estate completed by October 31st. And more transformers are being tested and will be energized. know what transformers are? Those things you see on the pole, those kind of gray things? That's what I'm talking about, not the little things you have in your home. And reconnections to customers in Roseau have been recertified is ongoing. A number of domestic customers already have power. And connections to date, connections in Roseau, 260. They sound small, but you know what happened to us. Portsmouth, 149, and the certificates that have been received to date, 625. Now considering Dominica has about 36,000 customers, you'd think, well, what are these guys doing? But you can't just connect. You got to make sure everything is okay. We could have a huge fire, and that is not going to be good. In Portsmouth, work is ongoing in the Picard area up to the Portsmouth Beach Hotel, and lines are being strung with ongoing work to the Kempinski Hotel work site. And pay-as-you-go customers in Roseau, you can only recharge at the Domlec main office, nowhere else, not yet. And businesses and homeowners in Roseau and Portsmouth should commence recertification with the electrical division that is in the government headquarters building. I think on the 3rd floor, that's where you can go to get your test. Because you have to be retested, you can't just go connecting people. Again, we had one disaster, we do not want the second one. Right there through our fault. This time nature would not be the one to blame. It has been good for you, CBN4, to come. I hope others follow your footsteps and come and ask questions. Don't meet me and tell me you should ask this and what you should ask. That's not my job. I'm there to moderate. But I do it because nobody else is there to try to bring more information and explanations to the people. Well, Journée Creole, the steps to Independence Day, we start today. A preacher on Sunday past was saying, and I happened to be passing, I actually stopped to listen to him because he was saying so many people are getting visas to run away. And he was condemning that, and he was really condemning it. And I thought, don't we say we love Dominica? And I remember the line that I learned at school from the Shakespeare play Romeo and Juliet. Love is not love if alters when it alteration finds. You don't love anything if when something goes wrong, suddenly you're not in love anymore. Let's keep Dominica as beautiful as we can and make it lovelier. Love is not love if it alters when it alteration finds. Think about that as we go along today on Journée Creole. Bonjour. Thank you.